This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am very, very pleased today to introduce Mr. Riccardo Bogi, who is joining us all the way from Tuscany from the house of Argiano. How are you today, sir?
Hello, Jamie. Thank you for your time, and I'm totally fine. We are here in Tuscany after a few weeks of traveling. I've been in Canada, I've been in Germany, all around, but now we are back here. We have just started the harvest for the olives this morning. So everybody's just waiting for a crunchy piece of bread, garlic, and extremely fresh olive oil. So I cannot complain. Everything is fine. And you?
Good, good, good. I'm getting a little envious now, you speaking about this bruschetta and this beautifully fresh olive oil. But nonetheless, we're here to speak about your winery. Now, Argiano have quite a bit of history, do they not?
Yes, quite a bit. I would say at least 500 years. In reality, our history goes back to about 2,400 years, when we had a temple dedicated to the Romanic god Janus, the god represented with two faces, one looking to the past and one looking to the future. The area was called Ara Giani. Ara was the altar. And then from Latin to Italian, the name changed and became Argiano. And then, of course, the winery, the beautiful Villa Bellaria, which is the headquarters, is where I am right now, comes from the end of the 16th century when it was built. And since then, it remained unchanged until now.
Now, Argiano has gone through quite a few owners over all of those years, has it not?
Yes, absolutely. Everything started, I will try to be short, but everything started with the Pecci family. Here we were at the border of the Republic of Siena. We had a watchtower, an old castle that was extremely important to control the borders, inform Montalcino and inform Siena in case of invasions. Then when Florence conquered Siena, unfortunately, I would say, I'm from Siena, so it's still hard after 500 years. It was a peaceful time, and the Pecci family decided to build this modern building, Villa Bellaria. It's a huge building, 1,000 square meters per floor, 4 floors, where we have the offices, the underground cellar, the noble floor with the apartments, the rooftop where we are hosting a beautiful collection of Renaissance and Middle Age art. That it's something that everybody should see. So you're more than welcome to come and visit us. And this is where we are right now. So after the passage to other owners, Tolomei family, Gaetani Lobatelli, d'Aragona family, a noble family from Roma, it arrives to the Noemi Marone Cinzano, and the latest was a Brazilian banker, André Esteves. So when he arrived, he say, guys, we are making a great wine. Let's try to also increase and improve our quality. That's why we have started to work really hard in the last 10 years to develop the quality, the cleanness of the wines, and to make Argiano beautiful. And we went back to the glory of what we had, and now it's an incredible place to work, to stay, to visit, where you can have a glass of wine, just walk around in the vineyards, see wild animals all around. So it's not a bad place to work.
In tasting your wines over the years, I've always been able to see that kind of dichotomy, say the two-facedness of your wines, which sounds like a terrible thing. It's not. But there is definitely a very traditional aspect to some of your wines, and then a very contemporary aspect to some of your wines.
Absolutely, Jamie. This is exactly our philosophy.
Right.
The god Janus with these two faces is like us. We are looking at the past. We cannot forget our tradition, the way the Brunello was done, the way we were cultivating the vineyards and respecting the environment. But also, we have to look at the future. Climate change, new training systems, or new profiles for the wines. It's not that we want to change our wines, but we always have to keep an eye to the future. And we are right in the middle, studying the past and looking forward for the future. And this is our duty, making the best wine we can, but we have to be also quite smart to analyze what will happen and what is going to happen.
Now, you are an estate winery. All of your wines come from that one plot, actually, right?
Yeah.
How many terroirs do you have within the estate?
Many terroirs. We have done this research about soils, and we have seen that we have at least 6 different kind of soils. But if we consider all the combinations and the different stratigraphy, we have seen that we could have millions of possibilities of micro terroirs. So we have done this research. We have identified all the main soils that we have. And this is very important because the maturation of the grapes, it's based on the soil type. A sandy soil will have a faster maturation compared to a clay and limestone soils. But the grapes as well, they will have a different profile. It's our main goal to understand what we have and doing the right harvest at the right time and transform these grapes into wines. So many different micro terroirs. So far, we have 6 experimental parcels from where we are making specific wines. Then they usually go back to the regular Brunello. But who knows, maybe in the future, we are going to have more single vineyards or single parcels. So far, we have 1 single vineyard wine, which is our Brunello Vigna del Suolo. It's a beautiful wine, tiny production, but is a wine that has to be tried at least once in a lifetime.
I can remember in my many visits to Montalcino getting an understanding of that patchwork of terroir. I remember some of the soils there because you have, I know you have sandy soils, clay soils, marl. You also have some like fossilized shellfish and the like, right?
Yes. This, for example, for us is our most important soil. This is clay, limestone. We call it marl. Yeah. Coming from the bottom of the ocean that we had again about 23 million years ago. Looks like concrete, looks sterile. In reality, it's fantastic. From this soil, we make our Brunello and we get complexity, we get concentration. We have a wine that is really complete. So in the summertime, when it gets drier, we have cracks and fractures.
Yeah, it's friable. Yeah.
Yeah, the tiny roots, they grow here, and they are able to really assimilate and get micronutrients. Beside that, yes, we have magmatic soils coming from the Monte Amiata, used to be a volcano until like 200, 300,000 years ago. So rich in organic substance. But then we have more light soils like sand and clay and silt, some gravel, a lot of fossils. Like this one, this little shell, or the big ones.
What the hell is
big oysters? We have even something bigger. Yep.
Okay.
So if you are a tourist working in our vineyards all around Argiano, if our agronomist doesn't catch you and if you find the fossils, you can get it. But we just have to close an eye and not look at you. So you're welcome to come and hunt for fossils.
Superb. Now we were speaking about the looking at tradition and looking at the future. How would you describe, I know this is a kind of cliche question, Riccardo, but how would you describe the overall philosophy of Argiano today?
Our philosophy is to respect the balance in the vineyards, in the cellars, in the glass of wine. Our philosophy is also about the tradition. As I said, we make our Brunello, our Rosso di Montalcino in the old way, but we're trying to know as much as possible to do as less as possible. And this happens mostly in the vineyards, is where we need to bring to the cellar healthy grapes, ripe enough. That's why we do the harvest based on the soil type and not just by vineyards. We're trying to respect our identity. We are in the southwest of Montalcino. that cannot be compared to the north or to the east. Every little area in Montalcino is unique. So we have to do the right interpretation of the terroir, of the vintage, with our winemaking style. And this represents our identity. So I would say that tradition, balance, identity are our main philosophy.
I was reading recently that you switched over to become one of the, well, actually the first plastic-free winery in Montalcino.
Yes, this happened in 2019.
Right.
We have always cared about the environments. We became plastic-free for, for single-use plastic, like
I see.
spoons for coffees or little things. We cannot remove in totally the plastic, but it's our little parts that we have to do for this environment. It's not a big sacrifice. It's just a matter of education and habits to respect that. And since then, other wineries join us. Our idea is not to sell more wines because we are plastic free. It's to really trying to make Montalcino a more sustainable terroir and environments. Beside that, we don't use any fertilizers, any pesticides. We want biodiversity. The great thing about Montalcino is that it's a big municipality, 30,000 hectares roughly, more than 200 wineries there, but only 10 to 11% of the surface have vineyards. Yeah. The rest is forest, olive groves, some cereal, but it's mostly forest. And that is very important also for wild animals, for life. And also thanks to this forest, last year we have reached the carbon neutrality. So there is the CO2 that we absorb is more than the one that we create and we produce, which is, again, another little thing that probably, hopefully, will have to preserve this beautiful environment of Valdorcia and Montalcino.
Speaking of biodiversity, what is your greatest source of predation on the grapes when it comes to wildlife there?
I would say that biodiversity is very important because of the soils that we have. The clay and limestone can be a tough soil. We need bacteria, microorganisms, earthworms, different kind of plants to have more oxygen in the soil, to help the roots to grow deep in the soil. And if the roots grow down to 4 or 5 meters below the ground level, is where they have access to the micronutrients to make more complex wines. But then at the same time, we have many wild animals. We have counted really 100 or 1,000 of different herbs, insects, wild animals. For example, we use little wasps to fight an insect that can damage the vines. And this wasp used to be here, but then it disappeared with the change of agriculture systems, and now it's back. So we are able to have a wide range of life that helps to maintain the vines stronger and more resistant also against the climate change that we have.
Do you have problems with wild boar eating your grapes?
Yes, we do. We do.
Many with that question. Yeah.
Many wild boars, Jamie. Many of them. The good thing is that they can match quite well with our wines, first thing. But jokes apart, we can control them easily. We just have to use an electric fence that we place in August until the harvest, just to scare them, not to kill them, to scare them, and we keep them away from the vineyards. The bigger problem comes from the wild deers. They can jump 2 meters. Yep. They don't care about the fence. But we have found that we just have to use a simple thing. Between the vineyard and the forest, we put several radio stations synchronized to the political radio station. So they hear humans and people talking and talking. Just they get afraid.
Boring humans talking.
Exactly. That is the idea. And they just run away. So in the last years, this worked really well. Let's see for the future. That's why we need these politicians that maybe can help us also in the vineyards.
It's funny. I've had a few Tuscan winemakers who have asked me to come over and take care of their wild boar for them or the deer. But I found out it would take me a while to get a license to do that in Italy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Anyway,
It's not that easy.
Riccardo, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. I appreciate all of the time you've spent with us this morning, and to your health, my friend.
Jamie, thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye. Ciao.